before we started, did you have any questions about anything?
Um, Not really. The Fiverr thing, I'll probably do your 3 month subscription for that too, by the way.
Cool. So yeah, we can, I mean, get that rolling after we're done here. But
Yeah.
after that, let's just go ahead and get started. And same as usual, be a
All
minute
right.
or so. I'm looking for something to talk about.
Attackers incoming.
All right.
Defend objective A. We strike as one.
Bask in the shadow of doubt.
Thank you. Teleporter online. I have opened the path.
Everyone heal up. You are your own worst enemy. Gaze into the iris.
Okay. Pretty good so far. I haven't done too much wrong.
Enemy coordinates ahead.
Ignorance of the turret no longer exists.
Alright, I'd say maybe the one thing I'd say here is like we have some inefficiencies and downtimes within what we're doing here. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, left click versus right click, right? That we can go more in depth on this if needed, but the general idea is when you can see people and can be shooting at them, you're left clicking. When you cannot, you're right clicking. So here, I think we might be right clicking too much when we still can actively be seeing people,
The
and that takes
turret
a long time
no
to
longer
charge up our
exists.
shots when we could just be shooting, this entire time, getting out spam damage. Besides that, we take some like backup, right? Like we have some random times where we like stop shooting. So like for example, let's just rewatch this from the start. So we can look at all the tiny little things here. So start off's good, right? We come in, we right click in, good, good. Then we back up here, we get
Into
the
the
kill,
iris.
and then for some reason we rotate all the way around instead of just coming back down main, which takes extra time, and it means that we're not able to actually shoot at anything during that whole time. So that was just, a little bit of inefficiency, and then we come back in here, and then we pause for a little bit, we come back in with right click. Now here's where we should just be spamming this whole time since we can see
Mm-hmm.
things, but then we we back up a little bit, charge up a right click again instead of just left clicking. But nothing super major as of yet. Alright.
Experience
Um,
tranquility.
we get... So let's rewatch this for a second. So in this moment, we stop shooting at Hog, even though I think we could still be shooting at Hog. Like, Hog's still out in the open here, and we swap targets over to Orisa, who's behind a shield, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone on our team's focusing Hog. I'd still probably continue to shoot Hog here, so we stop targets, and probably it's not a good idea. And then we make a big problem mistake here, right? We end up
Yeah.
transing,
Experience
and the
tranquility.
question then becomes, like, what do we need trans for, right? So trans needs to happen when our team is two conditions, right? When our team is low, or even just one person sometimes, when our team is low and in
Mm-hmm.
danger, right? But
Yeah.
preferably it's multiple people, but sometimes it can be one person, right? There's
Mm.
a difference between the two because somebody can be critical HP and standing right here, but are they in danger?
Not really, no.
No, not really, no. But then somebody could, the Reinhardt, right? Let's say Reinhardt is, stuck in a grav, right? And
Mm.
maybe there's a dragon coming in, but he's like, full HP. Is Reinhardt in danger there?
Uh, yeah, because
Yeah,
they'll
so
have dragons, yeah.
yep, so usually we want to use our Transcendence when we have both critical and low, or
Mm.
sorry, critical and in danger, and then
Mm.
also countering ultimates a lot of time. Now, on their
Mm.
team, I wouldn't say that there's any, usually, like, there's certain ultimates that are, like, really, really powerful, and those ultimates you would specifically hold on to Trans to counter, but on their current team comp, I don't think that there's anything that we would need to specifically counter,
Mhm.
though, like, I'd probably say it kind of be
Mm.
like this, where like Tyre and Valk we wouldn't ever use to
Yeah.
counter. Torbolt,
Maybe,
if it's
yeah.
and then
I
the
was saying, yeah,
rest.
maybe Torb.
Yeah, the rest would really we would use situationally if the ultimate's doing stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
if our whole team's in Torbolt, yes we'd use it. If our whole team's about to get shot by Baptiste, yes we'd use it, right? So now we're just using it whenever people are low and in danger, pretty much this game, because they don't have a nano blade, because they don't have a nano visor, because they don't have grab dragon, because they don't have any big ult combos to use or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we're just transing for when it's needed, and here it's not needed, so it's just a wasted ultimate pretty much.
Okay.
And on top of that, probably say look to apply a Discord before you're trancing, because it will stay on them, and here we don't have a Discord applied.
Yeah.
Oh, there we see Mercy, and we end up not looking at her, even out of trance. Like, watch Mercy just fly in past our team there, and we can see her still, like, right here at rezzing. And then, yeah, when we come out of trance, we're not looking at her,
Mm.
and we're not trying to shoot at her, when that would be a, pretty easy kill to be
Yeah.
going for at the moment. So, looking to do that.
Open your mind.
Hey, watch the spam jumping. That's probably something we touched on before. It's just, jump, don't jump, 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 because
Mhm.
it's easy to
Yeah.
headshot you.
I require aid.
Alright. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, wasted trance, missed the mercy kill. Were the two big things there.
Mhm.
Maybe in that situation, probably we ended up staggering a little bit, right? So probably
Yeah.
let yourself be killed, because you're not gonna live through that.
Heroes never die.
Very nice shots.
Tactical visor activated.
Awareness, audio awareness, right? Like we can hear Junkrat's
Mhm.
footsteps. The fact that he just dropped behind us, so if we're listening, we can hear him behind us. I assume we've already discussed that, so we just
Yeah.
make sure we're paying attention, right? Okay, so we have oh dang man, we did a lot of damage. We got 2 trances and 2. Oh dang man, that's actually a nut charge rate, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's what I said. Yeah. I can pump out damage with them. It's
yeah,
just like a lot of things you pointed out, you're gonna easily find on this.
yeah. So here we end up trancing, but we think, like, is it needed? Probably
Yeah. I
say
dropped down to
so.
80. Yeah.
Yep.
I think Junk hit me with
Mm.
an 8.
Yep, because we, maybe if we had turned around and killed Junkrat, then trance might not be needed. But because us and Soldier are low, then I would say
Mhm.
yes. That's probably a situation where you want to trance. Again, try to have orbs applied before we're
Mhm.
trancing if possible here.
Yeah.
Make sure that when we're trancing, that when we're coming out of trance, that we're
Mhm.
aiming, right? Because as you're coming out, you want to be instantly looking for somebody to shoot, right? Whereas here,
Mhm.
look at where we're coming out of trance aiming. Whereas we could be coming out of trance aiming at Torp, or coming out of trance aiming at Junkrat, right?
Mhm.
So just make sure we're coming out of trance aiming. I do like that we used the very end of trance to go and find cover. That was good.
Mhm.
That's unfortunate. Tire got us. Just, maybe mechanics could help with that. Or just, hitting it would be the
Mhm.
only thing there, but it's not super big. And their orb wasn't on the thing we were shooting. Make sure we're having
Mhm.
Discord on the thing we're trying to shoot at.
The battle continues.
A turret lies before us. It is quite
Oh,
weak.
I just finished off that turret real quick. Not a big reason to back up.
I had a feeling their hog or Junk would be right there, and they would get
Yeah,
me.
so
Yeah.
in that instance, right, like it's audio awareness to know
Mhm.
like where people are. Like Junkrat was up top and Hog was there, yeah. So I guess like in that situation, like they could have come for us, but they
Mhm.
weren't coming for us, and then therefore like we didn't need to necessarily back up. Now Junkrat did drop a couple seconds later. Audio awareness of the fact that he's there.
Your soul.
And good usage of cover.
Your setback is
Make sure.
only
Oh, sorry,
temporary.
I mixed up the colors there for a moment. Who are we looking at? Alright, so we killed Mercy, good
Your
job.
setback is only
I
temporary.
focus on Orisa, who's kind of out of position at the moment, right?
Mhm.
We're just, again, there's a lot, as of the moment, there's a lot of awareness things of like, we're not paying
Mhm.
attention to where people are, where our teammates are, where the enemy teammates are, to audio awareness, right? There's just a lot of them, not us not paying attention to that. Alright. Besides that, just little far forwards here.
Mhm.
Or I guess, I guess the problem is like once Junkrat starts looking at us, probably use cover, right? Duck to the right, make sure
Mhm.
we're dodging shots. But instead that you just be a shot there.
The outcome.
Um, we've talked. Have we talked on target priority as of yet?
Um, I feel like we have,
Mm,
but I think that was mainly more for
mm.
DPS. I don't know what it would
Yeah.
be really for Zen. I don't think
Same
it's the same.
target priority is the same across pretty much every character, right? That's the same exact target priority applies. Do you remember what the target priority was?
Mm, I'm gonna say like probably supports maybe were first if we could, maybe, or like out of
Mm.
position enemies.
Yeah, so the basically target priority is don't shoot at tanks, right? Tanks are the
Mhm.
hardest things to kill. They have shield. They have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters. They have shields, armor,
Mhm.
tanking abilities, and then on top of that, supports output healing and DPS output damage. But tanks, their job is create space, which is not a statistical output, right?
Yeah.
Therefore, we don't want to shoot at tanks, right? On top of that, you have additional target priority within that. That's not to say we never shoot at tanks, right? We shoot at them when they're low, when they're out of position, when they're the only thing we can shoot at. So certain characters can shoot at other things easier than others, right? Like so, think for example on like Reinhardt, right? If you're
Mhm.
playing Reinhardt, are you going to be able to get to their DPS and supports very easily?
No.
No, and that's because who's in the way?
Usually they're tanks
Usually
or
they're
something
tanks,
like
but
that. Yeah.
on Zenyatta, are you going to be able to get to their supports and DPS easier than Reinhardt?
No, not usually.
Why not?
Usually went Zen kind of like position, like kind of like a McCree would, kind of like mid range, kind of
Hmm.
like they wouldn't position like too far away from the tanks, just because of like how like
Yeah.
I guess you could say like kind of like how weak Zen is, kind
Just
of in like health.
just because McCree and Zanyatta play a mid-range from the enemy team doesn't mean that they have to play with your team all the time, right? Your
Yeah.
team, and then that gets into off angling. Have we discussed off angling
Mm,
previously?
yeah.
Yeah, so we've gone into off angling, right? McCree and Zenyatta can both off angle, and Zenyatta
Mm,
certainly has much more range than Reinhardt, right? So
yeah.
Reinhardt has to run through the tanks to get to the enemy team, but the Zenyatta, we can just get around the tanks, right, and shoot at
Yeah.
the other characters very easily, just from the side or through, once we break shields break. But what have we, most of this game, probably I'd say like 70% of what we've been shooting at has been tanks, right? And
Mm,
that's not to, again, there's times where we do shoot at tanks, but not all the time, right? Other
mm,
additional target priority would be just what are hard things to kill, go for the easier things to kill. Like if you're
mm.
comparing, I think we've already walked through all this stuff, but like, if who's harder to kill, like a Torbjorn or or a Junkrat?
Uh, Junkrat usually.
I'd probably say a Torbjorn is because he has Overload, which
Uh,
gives him extra health, which he also gets extra
uh,
speed and whatnot.
yeah.
So I would probably say a Torbjorn, and he's also has a smaller hitbox, which would make him harder to
Uh,
kill. So I'd probably say
sure.
Torbjorn would be harder to kill, right? Who's gonna be harder to who's gonna be harder to kill? A Junkrat or a? All right, sorry. Let's do Baptiste or Mercy.
Harder to kill would be Bat, just because
Hmm.
of his
Yeah,
immortality.
immortality, self heals, ability to get to high grounds, right? So we've already identified, right? Like the order would probably be on like in their team composition is whenever we have the opportunity, we'd probably go for like turret first, right? Because it's not moving, we want to get it out of the way. Then we
Hmm.
would go in character order. It'd probably be like Mercy Junk, then Torb Bap, then Orisa, then Roadhog, right? And that'd kind of be our order in who we're shooting at and killing, and then um, you have situations like pretty much you're also looking for opportunities. So someone's low, you go for them. Someone's out of position, you go for them. Someone's in a bad your whole team's focusing someone, you go for the thing your team's focusing, right? So that's
Mhm.
what target priority is, and so far we haven't really been keeping the target priority very much. And then yeah, that's meant we've gotten out a lot of damage, but we haven't really secured a lot of kills, and that's where we
Mhm.
lose carrying potential when we're
Yeah.
not getting those kills.
Bask in the shadow of doubt.
Mm. Just gotta work on the
Yeah,
prediction a little
tracking
bit.
there.
Yeah, tracking and prediction shots. Once again, not really a trance that's needed, so make sure we're looking for better situations for trance, because we're pretty much just kind of popping it off a cooldown, which
Mhm.
when you're working with other ultimates, this would honestly, like, if you're working with like a DPS ultimate, this would be like perfect timing for a DPS ultimate, but you're working
Mhm.
on a support, and when you're playing a different character, you play differently, right? So on a defense,
Mhm.
when you're playing a support who has a defensive ultimate, such as Trance or Lucio Beat or Baptiste's Immortality, right? You
Mhm.
use it situation like when it's needed. You don't force it into a situation where it's not needed. In most cases, there's some cases where you can get aggressive with a trance, but a lot of the time you're going to use it when it's actually needed. And here, right, like yes, they're using Molten Core, but
Mhm.
no one's in Molten Core, right? Like
Yeah.
none of our teammates are low, no one's in danger, so therefore trance doesn't really get needed. Once again, noting that we're not applying Discord orb before we're going into trance. We had it on
Mhm.
Junkrat, and then Junkrat goes around the corner, so we'd probably reapply it
Experience
really quick because
tranquility.
it will
Mhm.
fade off of Junkrat after 3 seconds after him being around the corner, right?
Mhm.
It will.
A turret lies in our way.
Okay.
A
There.
turret lies in our way.
Yeah, okay, so Reinhardt just gets kind of melted there. And then maybe that's a better situation where, trance is needed.
Mhm.
I am under attack.
Not backing far enough up with the end of our trance, because then they end up pushing us and we end up almost dying there. But, he almost landed the hook on us and we could have died. Very good head level shots. Very aim's a bit shaky at the moment, but I think we have good crosshair placement. I think that would have
Mhm.
been something we discussed. I think on McCree,
With
yeah.
McCree, yeah.
So crosshair placement so far has been pretty good. They've been slightly inconsistent, where sometimes I'm seeing us aim down, but for the most part, I see the effort into aiming up.
Mhm.
So definitely better than in the past.
There is chaos within
Okay, peeking a little wide here from cover, right, when we might want to be closer to car using this, and then we
Mhm.
also don't use the cover once we do start getting shot at, right? So
Mhm.
remember that cover is only doing anything if you use it, right? You can
Yeah.
stand next to cover all you like, and it doesn't make your positioning any better unless you actually use cover, because it's this if you don't use it, then it's the same thing as you standing on the open, right? So
Mhm.
good positioning is the usage of cover, which means standing near cover and then using it when needed.
Mhm.
Whereas here we start getting shot at by like 3 people and we're not using any cover. We're just kind of standing out in the open here.
overcome.
Okay. Do do do.
Barrier activated. Enemy turret ahead. Barrier is failing.
Right there, I tried to win for a protection one on the junk.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take a little bit more of a look at an orb. So first off, look to keep your orb by default. So let's talk about orb default target, right? So with
Mhm.
your orb, you by default should have it most of the time on your main tank, right? Because
Mhm.
your main tank is going to be the one who is taking the most damage out of everybody on your team, in
Mhm.
most cases. Therefore, you're going to get the most ult charge off of them. You're going to provide the most healing, and it also a lot of times means that you can just leave it on them and not have to worry about it as much and swapping it around. Now, when you do swap it is when it's needed, right? Somebody else is low, somebody else
Mhm.
is in danger, right? Then you swap orbs when it's needed. But whenever you're done, so let's say we have it on Ryan, we put it on Soldier because Soldier's low. Soldier gets full HP. Now we're resetting it back to Reinhardt because he's our default target. We keep going back to him. Now there's some
Mhm.
situations where we'd have a different default target, right? Like let's say We're running like an Orisa hog, and then we're on like a Doomfist, right? Well, Doomfist might take more of an orb priority because Orisa hog are gonna be sitting in the back, and then Doomfist is gonna be going in more, right? Or
Hmm.
Pharah, Echo are also good at orb targets, right? Characters that are going in, Tracer, Genji are decent orb targets. And then like if your main tank is dead, like if your Reinhardt's dead, maybe you'd place it on the Zarya next, so you kind of have an orb priority order, right? So Zarya being the off tank would be the one taking the second most amount of damage, right? So therefore, if Reinhardt's dead or like on the other side of the map, Zarya would then be getting the default orbs. So here we kind of have orbs sitting on Soldier, and that's probably not who we want to have it on. Um, Audio awareness for Junkrat, that's potentially an easy kill to go for. Okay, discording, we haven't had a discord on things. We want to just essentially on our Zenyatta, we want to constantly have orbs applied at all times because that means
Hmm.
maximum healing, maximum damage, and we also want to be shooting as often as possible, which I think we've been doing for the most
Hmm.
part with a tiny little bit of inefficiencies, just so as we can get max damage. Here we end up trancing in after Reinhardt, which I think is okay. Yeah, I think that one's like out of all the ones we've used is not the worst one, but it's also probably wouldn't say it's not like the best trance we've, again, maybe not optimal using, though I think that's definitely not bad. So maybe say it's just like an okay trance. Beat, obviously, Lucio made the mistake there because we tranced much
Hmm.
earlier than the beat.
Yeah.
Having Discord applied so that we can actually kill things. Whenever you're coming out of trance, a lot of times you want to come out of trance into safety, not into danger. In most cases, there's
Hmm.
some cases where you could, and that's with everything in Overwatch. Again, like the answer to almost any question in Overwatch is it depends. It's situational. Like let's
Hmm.
say you were ending trance at the end of the fight and you want to chase down a kill, or let's say we ended trance and we used it to, let's say, I mean, like honestly, like this would be like a decent play as if again we're unaware of Junkrat being right next to us because we're not listening to our audio. If we use
Hmm.
trance to get like over here and like right up next to Zenyatta, well now we can use this wall and duel the Junkrat, right? By getting like right up next to him, right? So we can use that trance to get aggressive over onto the Junkrat. But I probably say don't use it to get like into this area where you're like, if anybody looks at you here, you're dead, right?
Yeah.
Junkrat looks at you here, you're dead. Roadhog or Orisa looks at you, you're dead, right? So we're not in a really good spot. Whereas, like, let's say we trans over to here, well, now we have a wall. If anybody looks at us, we killed Junkrat, and then because we have a wall to shield dance off of, we should just be going back and forth on this, and we can. Hog can't hook us or shoot at us, right? So it's just a big difference
Hmm.
between the two. Discord what you're shooting at. Anytime you're shooting at something, it should be discorded. Right there, it's just a little bit delayed. Just get it out faster. Junkrat, us and Junkrat both just did not see each other at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, notice, just again, target priority is tanks, 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 right?
Hmm.
Whereas maybe what we could be doing with this time is shooting at tanks, yeah, but while we're moving forwards and pushing to the right using shield, trying to get in angles on Baptiste, right? Something like that, right? But it's just, the entire time is just tanks and tanks, right? Well, I look for opportunities because target priority is two things. It's actively looking to shoot at other things, so taking off angle, like actively looking to shoot at other things would be taking off angles and looking to get around shields and tanks to shoot at other characters. But then there's also equal opportunity where I have the option, like let's say that we're standing right here and you can choose that target, that target, that target, that we have the equal opportunity to shoot at everything. Therefore, it's wrong if we shoot at this, right if we shoot at this, right? And that's equal
Hmm.
opportunity. I'll try to show you situations where you have equal opportunity. As of the
Hmm.
moment, we don't really. It would be more like you have to actively go and seek out the Baptiste.
Hmm.
Like here, we would have equal opportunity, right? So shooting a Bap would be good. Yep. Maybe pushing a little far from cover when we could still be shooting Bap. Oh,
Hmm.
sorry, excuse me. Where we could be shooting Bap from like right here, right? Just getting a little close on him, not discording him. audio awareness. Again, a lot of awareness things, right? Like Mercy reses right next to us, and that would have been a very, very easy kill to, but then we let her get away with it. That she gets a res off, right? So pay attention to your surroundings. Listen. If they have a Mercy, make sure we're watching dead bodies when we kill people.
But an extinguisher is not required.
The payload. Teleport.
Bright side, we do, or like one of the good things is we do have a good grasp of when to left click versus right click, which is good.
Yeah, I'm still very new to Zen, but I just know from playing against him, like he has really good like burst potential.
Take out that turret, probably I'd go for, just because it's immobile. Again, you want to just get it out of the fight as soon as possible, just because it's so easy to. Okay, right, like there's that situation, like why go for a hog when there's other characters to shoot at, type of deal. Take out that turret still. Mercy, get her. Right, very good. Discord. Right, just make it a habit to just spam Discord while you're like at people while you're shooting them, because we've seen a lot of opportunities. I'd probably say Discord is in need of more work than the healing is.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
The greatest group up.
I'd probably say if you did not have a if you did not have a teleporter that you can just use to get back over there instantly, I'd probably position over here, because this would allow you to do pretty much all the same thing except for have angles down main and have a high, and probably be a little bit further away from the fight, which Zenyatta likes to be not a mile away, but likes to be decently away from the fight. Just give us a good off angle as well. Oh, almost jumped off the map there. Okay, we heard Reaper right side, we see him. Okay, but we didn't back up, right? So here, we know Reaper's there, right? Like here, Reaper, we hear him go clunk. We look down to the right and we see him for a second, yet we don't take any effort to get away from him, right? As well, we can press tab and see they're on a Reaper. We know they're on a Reaper, right? And we should be looking to get away from him. Yeah, we're not, right? So far, like the number one thing we've been looking at has been awareness, right? Because there's constantly when we're not paying attention to things, and then therefore we end up getting punished for them. Which just real quick, like looking back, like last one, yeah, awareness was number 2 last time. Positioning was number 1. So far, I think positioning has been like too terrible, but awareness definitely is seeming like the biggest thing at the moment. Because then that leads to a death, and then that can lead to us losing the fight because we're not there to help our team out. Have you changed your Zenyatta orb sensitivity yet?
I don't think.
You familiar with what that does?
I'm gonna say no.
So your orb sensitivity is essentially when it's at 10%, right? And this is how you find it. You go to options, all heroes, you scroll all the way down to Zanyatta, right? And then you see Orb of Harmony, Orb of Discord sensitivity, right? What this means is when this is at 10%, you have to be looking directly at somebody within their hitbox for it to an orb to register on them. Whereas if this is at 100%, it's going to be pretty lenient, and it's not really going to. It might not put it where you're aiming, right? So you want to lower this to where you're able to accurately aim where you're trying to go, especially in crowds of people. I'd recommend a range of probably around like 50 to 70, depending on how confident you are in your mechanics. So here, for example, notice how we're trying to get out of Reinhardt, and we are aiming at Reinhardt, yet our crosshair is on Reinhardt, right? Yet who does Orb go to? Orb goes to Soldier.
Yeah, I think Zarya or Soldier.
Oh, because we like reapplied it. I think we saw that it went to the wrong target, and then we put it right. So that's an example of it not working out too great there.
My ultimate ability.
I'd take TP real quick. Probably there.
Move to the beat. I have located the enemy.
Okay, resetting it back up on our Reinhardt. There you go. Okay, we hear Reaper below us. No, apparently not. 'Cause okay, reloading when we know there's like absolutely nobody to shoot at.
Oh, this is my jam.
I require aid.
Oh, missed some shots there. Okay, keeping it on soldier. Probably not who we want Orb to be on. Okay, make sure we're not doing long rotations in the middle of a fight, right? So like our, you know, we're rotating while our people are doing things, and there's probably no reason to be making the rotation, right? Like this rotation isn't very high value. Being top left, it probably isn't very much of a difference from being top right in most cases. Okay, again, Discord comes late.
The balance shifts in my favor.
Nothing's gonna stop me. Oh, you hear that?
Bass.
We're
The shadow
11
of
minutes, 10 seconds. So just to show you, whenever you, even when you're firing in a right click, you cannot throw a Discord while you're right clicking, but you can immediately afterwards. So for example, let's say we're right here, right, and we're within range of Discord, and our right click has some travel time. Well, we can essentially put Discord on while the orbs are still traveling,
only
right,
yourself.
to where they are getting the orb as I think like on like the second shot hitting them, right? So again, just so you can see it, right? So the orb's going in, and then the last couple are getting damage boosted, right? So we want to make sure that we are looking to orb people even when we're in the middle of right, like we're just spamming it so that it
We
happens
all
immediately after right
represent
clicking, right? And then
unfulfilled
this way
potential.
they're still taking extra damage, and then immediately afterwards so that we can also follow up with it, right? So we want to make sure we're looking to do that and just apply, you know, because you can apply orb the moment you see somebody, and you can just press at the same time you're shooting, right? It pretty much goes right in along with your
There
shots,
is
so you don't have to worry
disquiet
about
in
like
your
the timing or
soul.
anything. You just press left click, press E, right? You swap targets, you move on to the next thing, right? Whereas our orb usage is, you know, we never apply it, right? We start shooting at something, we shoot, then we orb, right? Instead of orbing along like the second we start looking at them.
I got you.
Oh, wrong map. We're on Nuban.
Namadi. Yep.
Traveling to Numba.
I think you said 11:10. I think it was.
Move to the beat.
Thank you.
Tactical visor activated.
Teleporter online. We move quickly.
Experience
I think
tranquility.
decent time to be ulting. Like we're trying to just save his life.
Oh, let's break it. Damn! Push on.
Reality bends to my whim.
Oh, we got stuck on the wall there a little bit. Positioning currently is a little out in the open, and then we just walk into the wall instead of around the corner, and then that's what gets us killed pretty much, is because the wall slows us down. Okay, looking to, you know, use good positioning, good cover usage.
Let's up the tempo.
You are your own worst enemy. Tactical visor activated.
30 seconds.
I'm on fire.
Thank you.
10 seconds
Mm. Just
remaining.
a little longer. Turn them back.
Darkness falls.
Overtime.
Oh, if she was discorded there, then she would actually be dead there because you got off a headshot
Headshot.
kick, which
Yeah.
would kill a tracer. Very nice. Positioning currently. Do we like drop from high ground here? Yeah, I think we drop from high ground to shoot at
Yeah,
Mercy,
I
right? So we left
yeah.
some good positioning. Try not to drop from high grounds. Crouch when you get near an edge. This is going to lower your mobility and make it easier for you to stay up there, right?
Overtime.
I feel
Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to skip that far.
There you go.
They stop looking at us, and then that's kind of what allows us to not die. But then we even still die, right? So make sure we're looking to just stay alive and looking. You know, obviously that's a mistake if we're dying. All right, so let's move on to the next one. I think I might have accidentally already put in the code for it. Let me see.
It was Rialto, I think.
All right, I already. Yeah, okay. So it's just this next one then. I
Welcome
believe.
to Rialto. Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
There we go.
Hello.
3, 2.
I have secured
Darkness
Well,
falls.
Light Orb a bit faster there, so we did end up melting him a bit, so that was good. And good orbs, good target priority. Okay, pretty good fight
By the
there.
hand that claims it.
Well played. So now we have, if we're looking at our team composition, right? Now remembering that team composition dictates play style. So
Yeah.
every time we're on a different team comp and they're on a different team comp, we play completely differently. So that means that on the last game, so let's look at this game, right? They have a Mercy, therefore we're thinking,
Mhm.
okay, we have to watch for reses when we get a kill, right? Therefore we can
Mhm.
kill her and to get an extra kill while also stopping her from resing, right? They have a Doomfist, so we have to watch out for him coming in and getting on top of us, right? Because we're going to be his, number one or number two target aside from Widowmaker, right? So we have to be
Mhm.
aware of him, paying attention to our flanks and our off angles, and making sure we're watching for him so he can't just get the drop on us, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to the fact that they have a Reinhardt, because now Reinhardt's a pretty big ultimate. So if he gets a big shatter, we might want to trance that, right? And we might want to look to use, maybe hold on to trance just a little bit for that, right? Or even
Mhm.
Doom ult, right? Because if we're being the target of Doom ult, that might be a situation where we might want to trance to save our life, right? So just all those different things, and then look at our team comp and go, okay, we have a Pharah. Is Moira able to heal Pharah?
Nah, that's one
No.
thing I
Mm-hmm.
noticed right from the get-go,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yep.
I knew that she was going to be my priority.
Exactly, right? So we should pretty much have Orb perma on Pharah unless
Mhm.
somebody else needs it, right? So our target
Mhm.
priority changes from Reinhardt over to Pharah.
Mhm.
Mess up a little bit there. Make sure we're charging it up that we're not charging up while we're in the open, but we're charging up
Mhm.
around the corner and then peeking, right? We don't want to charge it up
Mhm.
here, because why would we let them shoot at us for free when we could charge it up here and then peek with it?
Mhm.
Get into position.
Okay, little far away from the fight when we probably want to be somewhere like right here, like right now, right? Um,
Mhm.
Zenyatta, right? He does not prefer to be a sniper, right? Because I think we've talked about this stuff with like McCree, right? But
Mhm.
Zenyatta is a projectile character, right? Therefore, when he is at a range, it is going to be more difficult for him to hit his shots because projectiles are inherently more difficult to predict when you're
Mhm.
very far away from somebody, right? On top
Yeah.
of this, targets are also going to be smaller, which are going to make them harder to hit, and we're going to be less accurate. And then therefore, we want to be closer to people and not standing a mile away. So, he's a mid-range character. You probably want to put him, I'd say, at like 20 to, trying to think of the range-wise. Probably like 15 to 35 meters would be kind of your range, whereas here we're just unnecessarily far away when we could be up here, right? So
Mhm.
be closer at the moment.
Our enemy double
Yeah, Orb so far looking slightly better this game. Another one where it might have been, I think it got stolen there. Like there again,
Yeah.
notice crosshairs on Ryan, Orb goes to
Mhm.
Farah, so that's another one where lowering sensitivity probably would get you on the right target.
Get behind. Be one with the universe.
Okay, good default target here.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have
The payload
trance,
awaits
right? So
on the
we're
checkpoint.
thinking, okay, they have Shatter this fight. We are gonna see, does Shatter do anything? If Shatter doesn't do anything, then we can trance. Or if it does do something, we trance. If it doesn't, we don't trance, right? Okay, once again, kind of actively putting yourselves at a far, like at a really far distance. Like now we're sitting probably like 45, maybe 50 meters away-ish, right? Whereas we could just be up here using shield and, cover and be a little bit closer to the fight, an extra 10 meters closer, bring that down to like 35 meters, right? So just easier shots to land when we're closer.
My ultimate ability is ready.
So we do push a bit closer, which is good. Very nice.
Experience tranquility.
I've noticed that almost every single trance we've used that has had somebody low, we're using it on a solo target, where we're using it on one person. A lot of the times you want to use trance for when multiple people are in danger, right? Sometimes you can use it for one person, especially like if it's a high value person, right? So for example, if you're trying not to lose like someone who has an ultimate, or like if you're trying to if like you're at the very beginning of a fight and that pick might put you down people, but like here we're already up a person, so if we lose Reaper, it's not like we lose the fight, right?
Mhm.
And then with Transcendence, we might just need it for a more important pressing situation. So it's kind of like situational, and then here as well, Reaper does he does Wraith out, and we just don't see him Wraith. Like we see,
Experience
essentially we see Wraith here for like an extra second before we trance. So Wraith happens, and then we trance. So we just
tranquility.
awareness again. That one was that one isn't as bad as the other ones we've seen with awareness because he was like in the middle of 4 people, but it's still
Mhm.
awareness of if you see that, then that stops you from wasting an ultimate. So once again, not a great trance. Whereas now, critical Reinhardt, right?
Mhm.
Hogs ulting, right? Maybe slightly more of a need for trance in that situation. Reaper's critical now, right? So now we have 2 people critical HP.
Mhm.
Okay, notice shooting at Hog when equal opportunity is Hanzo, right?
Mhm.
Pain.
And then trance there also would have saved ourselves while we were being pushed, right? They're getting aggressive.
Get back.
Okay, good job taking high grounds. Now Hog's very out of position, so that's completely fine to focus him there, right?
Mhm.
Probably, you're winning the fight pretty handily. Oh, make sure Orb was on Reinhardt there. We kind of had it sitting on nobody, just paying it again at being aware, watching health bars and who needs healing, right? And if you were not aware, right? First off, you see the critical, that's obvious, right? But
Yeah.
you also have coloration through walls to where
Mhm.
they start off green when they're full HP, and then they're yellow if they've taken damage, and it further shades darker and darker and darker until like they're an orange here when this person's critical. Whereas if somebody just took a smidge of damage, they'd be yellow. So this just gives you additional awareness, right? To pay attention to that as well as health bars, right? So notice next time we go through a wall. Let's see next time we see somebody on our team.
Rocket barrage incoming.
So far we're looking at them, so we can't really see them very much. So, yeah,
Get into
can't really
position.
see it because we haven't gone around a wall yet from people.
Experience
Okay,
tranquility.
notice that when we're using our ultimate that essentially we have to be within range of somebody, because like here I think we're trying to use it for the Reinhardt, or maybe we're using it for the dragon, but we can't use it on a Reinhardt because of how far away he is. It would take us like 2 seconds to even reach him. So when we're using trance, we want to make sure we're actually within range of people, and sometimes that means we have to position close to them. But then here as well, we use it and it just doesn't do anything. Like we use it when they dragon, but like
Experience
dragon
tranquility.
has a travel time, and we can see when it's coming in, and if it's going to kill somebody, they're not going to die instantaneously to a dragon. So here, does dragon actually do any damage to anybody? No, because they just walk out of the
Mhm.
way, right? So trance therefore didn't actually accomplish anything yet again, right? So pretty much almost every single trance we've used, with the exception of like 1 or 2, has gotten very little value. Okay, and then we're ending trance, not in safety again, right? Pay attention to your surroundings, because us pushing in there did absolutely nothing. Like, you know, us walking forwards there did accomplish nothing because nobody went with us, right? So we weren't paying attention to our surroundings. Also noting as well, because I didn't even I wasn't even paying attention to this, but we also trance when the fight was lost, right? Where we've already discussed kill feed, right?
Yeah.
Here we're down. They have close spawns, and we're down 2 people, right? Yet we're trancing, which means that we're not paying attention to kill feed, we're not paying attention to where our team is, and we're going in, we're not, when we use trance, we're not backing up around the corner, and then therefore we get down to like 24 HP.
There is disquiet in your soul.
Oh, just got domed there. Again, be like, don't go for wide peaks. So, difference between a soft peak and a wide peak is, right, a soft peak is I'm only peeking for this sliver of a thing that I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at Mercy, this shouldn't be my peak angle, right? Because why would I peek like this and let everybody shoot at me when I'm only shooting at Mercy, right? That's a soft peak. A wide peak,
Mhm.
right, is when we do this, right? And now everybody can see us, right? Whereas we only need to be here, right?
Mhm.
So that small sliver, like, you know, that's not very far. That's like probably like 2-3 meters, but that small little sliver is what allows us to get headshot and killed, right? So we just, again, aware of our positioning, as that's how positioning works, is just sometimes being out of position by 2 to 3 meters is what it takes to kill us.
Advert. You are your own worst enemy.
Clearing the area.
Embrace tranquility.
Discord orb applying. Oh, nice shots, mechanics,
Begets
good.
more chaos.
I think so far our mechanics have been looking pretty solid, and I think in comparison to, I think a lot of the time mechanics has been pretty high, right? Like it's last time it was 3, 2 times ago it was number 1, 4 times ago it was number 2, right? So mechanics was 2, 1, and 3, and then now I'd probably say it's on the lower end of things to work on, right? So honestly, mechanics, big improvement, looking really solid, at least on the Zenyatta character here.
This will heal you.
Darkness falls.
Yeah, a little bit far back from the fight, right? There's no reason for us to be backing up this far when we could be up here out of the dragon. And we're also even beyond that, we might not even want to be like right here. We might want to be like in here, even closer, right? Because now this, right, the difference
Mhm.
between this and all the way back here is the difference between like 30 meters, right? So we're like 30 meters closer. We have line of sight on like more of their team. We might even be able to sneak out through the dragon there. I don't know. I think we'd be able to make that. I think
Mhm.
that's like enough space to squeeze through the dragon, and then we could be able to actually help with the shatter, right? But here, notice that we're just putting ourselves so far out of the fight,
Get into position.
Gaze.
and then therefore Reinhardt, we can't have orb on Reinhardt. Reinhardt dies. That just little bit of inefficiency there. Like if we were in the fight, we could have gotten an extra 5% on our ult, and maybe could have tranced Reinhardt and actually helped with the
Experience
with it.
tranquility.
That's a pretty decent trance, because I think we just got shot, didn't we? Let's see.
Gaze.
I think we just got shot right
Yeah,
before
I think we all
trance.
right clicked by soldier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
like,
this is a pretty good trance because we save our life, right? We're 23 HP, so that's really good. And then on top of that, we we keep our hog up,
Experience tranquility.
which is pretty solid. Then again, make sure we're ending trance in the right. So here, when we're being shot at, right? Make sure we're just being aware of our surroundings again. Audio awareness, right? We've walked through all the audio awareness stuff, right?
mhm.
Up sounds, lower music, turn on
Yeah.
surround sound if you don't have it on, but actively listen for your surroundings, because here, soldiers ulting behind us, we see the bullets coming in,
Experience
right?
tranquility.
We see we hear him I have you in my sights, right? We hear that from behind us. We see the bullets hitting us from behind, right? We can see like that, for example, right? And we know it's there. Yeah, we don't take any effort to like position away from him, right? We don't even notice he's there, right?
Our enemy
And then therefore we die, right? So
this
awareness leads to the death.
Let's work together. Rocket barrage incoming.
And making sure we have orb on our Farah.
You no longer take you.
I think we were paying attention to that earlier, but I think we've kind of went away from that a little bit. Like we stopped paying attention to her. Oh,
assistance would be
running in the
appreciated.
wrong direction from away from dragon. Right, notice the angle of dragon. Oh no. I don't know where we were.
Uh,
We're further back.
yeah.
Right, so notice the angle of dragon here. Right, we see dragon coming in. Right, all you have to do is just stand here and we're good. But we walk into dragon to get away from it. Right, so just watching that we're not doing that. And that also puts us out of the fight for a little longer, taking a longer rotation in the middle of the fight. Don't take long rotations in the middle of fights, right? When dragon already faded a long while ago, right? It's all, dragons. Oh, the dragon's all the way over here, man, right? And
Mhm.
we had so much time where we could have just been here shooting and stuff. Yeah, we're making that long rotation in the middle of the fight, right? Don't take long rotations in the middle of fights, right? We want to be in there actually fighting and doing things. We got real lucky there. The hog
Yeah.
booped us over the shatter, and got us out of the fight. That's actually pretty funny. The hog, I think he did that for like all of us. Yeah, that's like I want to watch that in like third person, real quick, because we go for he's about to get a big shatter right out. Or let's look at his perspective here. Right, big shatter, three-man shatter, or two-man shatter, right? And oh yeah, it was about to be a three-man shatter, and Hulk just poops us both over it. All right, sleeve, right? You know stuff. We're going over the main points, whatnot, right? Let's see. So we are on Zanyatta, right? Orbs, make sure you constantly have them applied all the time. Discord, just place it out there. Make sure it's on stuff. Before we while we're shooting, you can apply it while you right after you fire out right clicks and while you're left clicking. Heal orb, default it to the best thing possible. A lot of times that's the main tank, but sometimes it's other DPS characters, specifically ones that are gonna be taking a lot of damage or inside their team or are very fast and hard to heal from other people, right? So think Tracer, Doom, Pharah, Echo, right? Those types of characters are gonna be decent, but a lot of times main tanks is just who you leave it on. Come up with the default targets in your head. If they're dead or out of commission or on the other side of the map, think about who's the second best to heal, and make sure you're defaulting back to them when you're done, right? And then that's pretty much it. Make sure you're paying attention to when people need healing as well. Overall, I'd probably say that's like a medium priority for you to work on. Ultimate usage. We ended up not usually getting good value out of them, right? Like we use them very frequently and we charge them up very, very fast, which is we're both good, but we would just not use them in optimal timings a lot of the time, right? Where people weren't in low or in danger when we use them. There weren't ults that were putting our team in danger, right? So make sure we're paying attention to when people are in danger, when they're low, and then we ult, right? We don't ult when those aren't the cases, right? Because otherwise it just doesn't do anything, right? Like why be ulting in that situation if you're not, why heal when healing is not needed, right? Is essentially what it comes down to. So that one probably goes to like a medium high priority. Mechanics, just general practicing aim, crosshair placement like once in a while will look a little down or something like that. So just continue to work on that, but nothing like super bad with it. Target priority, make sure we're shooting at DPS and supports, not the tanks. And even within DPS and supports, come up with the best things to shoot at. You should shoot at people who are low and out of position. Make sure we're actively seeking them out, and when we have the opportunity to shoot at everybody, we're shooting at the right things. So they ended up shooting at tanks quite a bit, but you can shoot at tanks when they're low, out of position, or the only thing you can hit. Thinking. Besides that, I think that was
probably positioning a little bit too. I think
yeah. I think so. I think that was it with the mechanics. So mechanics goes probably to like a low to medium priority. Moving on, positioning, making sure that we are using cover, right? Good positioning is usage of cover, bad positioning is the absence of cover. Taking high grounds and off angles and more often, right? I think off angles especially was a bigger one because like we just kind of never took off angles, right? I should have pointed it out in game, like of like this is an angle you could have taken, and I thought about it a couple times, but then I just never ended up getting around to it. But just make sure we're looking for them more, right? And we're going on them more often, even on a character like Zanyatta, right? Because they're safe and short, right? And they get us around the shields, around the tanks. Besides that, make sure we're keeping a medium range, right? Not super far away from them because it's really hard to hit shots and whatnot. So don't sit all the way back here. Usually we're gonna want around the range of like 15 meters to like 30 or maybe like 35 meters, right? So like within this range, yeah, like within this range, preferred, right? Just whenever possible. Maybe like 30 meters to be preferred, right? Like maxing out 30 preferred, and then if we can go further, we can go closer if needed. Okay. Overall, that goes probably to like a medium high priority, and then awareness, right? Paying attention to our surroundings, right? Paying attention to our health bar, requesting healing when needed, paying attention to the health bars of our teammates around us and who's low and who needs healing, paying attention to their danger levels so we know when to trance, when to heal, who to heal. Paying attention to where is the enemy team at, right? And so there's a lot of times where like just we didn't know where the heck people were, and paying attention to our audio cues, like the 10 times where Junkrat and Reaper were like right next to us and we didn't notice them, right? Paying attention to where is our team at, right? So we're not pushing in without them. Paying attention to kill feeds, so we're not ulting when people are up or down. That's another thing in ults, right? Was don't ult when fights are won and lost, right? Just pay attention to the flow of the fight. That was, a lot of just odds and ends here and there, things to just pay attention. It got us killed a lot of times because we weren't paying attention as well. Like with the soldier who's visoring us from behind, right? Just all that type of stuff. Overall, that probably goes to like a medium-high priority, just because we were not paying attention, and therefore that led to a lot of mistakes, right? And a lot of deaths as well, right? So let's go through that real quick. Main points is number 1, awareness. Number 2, probably going to be at probably positioning, because I would say as of the moment your trans usage isn't, I don't think, like, even though it was bad, I don't think that at your current SR that it's being punished as much, just because people aren't doing as much damage, kind of. Like, because they're not doing damage, you're not needing the trans. If that makes sense, but like in any case, right? Like I think they're kind of evenish, so they're very very close. Is all I'm saying, right? It's very close, but I'll put positioning first, then ult usage, then ability usage, then finally you have your what is the last mechanics last, right? Any questions about anything we talked about, or just anything else in general?
Um, is there any good like ult combos to like pair with trans? Like,
Not particularly. So, like, once in a while, like, maybe you can do, like, an aggressive trans, for example, like, if you're trying to, like, hard pushing it aggressive, like, in certain situations, like, if you know that you need to get into somewhere and, like, they don't have any ults you need to save trans for, so, like, let's say it's final fight, you need to push in and get on point, and you know they don't have anything you need to save trans for, you might want to, like, push in really aggressively with trans and just use it to let them get in through choke or something like that. But that's very situational. You're not going to use that all the time. And then once in a while, maybe you can like do a trance blade, for example. Like if your Genji's going in with blade and he doesn't have nano, trance can help keep him alive through it. But like again, that's situational. Once in a while, maybe. But there aren't really great. I wouldn't say there's many ult combos with trance. More so ults that you have to watch out for to trance against.
I gotcha.
And then anything else?
I think that's it. I think everything else I could just watch back in the video.
Okay.